Welcome back to Political Hot Seat, where we take candidates and try to make them squirm. If you'd like to give us a call, you can call 727-8750. We're going to go to caller Diane on the phone, who's going to be asking Nye County Clerk Sandra Merlino a question about ID.
Yes. I was wondering why they don't ask people for their ID when they come up to vote, at the voting polls.
The reason they don't is because what we have in place is an image of your signature from your voter registration on the roster. And when you sign the roster, our workers verify your signature against the signature on the roster. Unfortunately, the laws are pretty clear that I can't require you to show ID at the polls as long as your signature matches.
That answer it? Okay, I guess that's it with that.
Thank you so much, Diane. We were talking a little bit about registering to vote. How far in advance do you have to register to vote? How do you register to vote?
Well, you can register to vote online with the Secretary of State's office. Of course, we have forms available. We send them to the senior centers, the libraries, the post office. Mail-in registration is due 30 days before the election, and then they've actually extended the close of registration for walk-ins, and we are actually open till 7 o'clock on the 19th and 20th of May for walk-in registrations, and you can also register to vote online up until that point as well.
And when is the primary and the general elections?
The primary is June 10th and the general is November 4th.
When does early voting start for those two as well?
Well, for the primary, it starts May 24th, and for the general, it starts October. It's 2 weeks before the election, whatever that date is.
All right, I'm just grading you. I just went on to write that.
Well, you mentioned the registration 30 days before. Is that before May 24th, or is that before June 10th?
Before Election Day.
Okay.
Before June 10th.
Okay. And you can call us here at 727-8750, or you can email us at deanna@kpvm.tv. Let's talk about one of the questions that people ask me more probably about than anything else besides about Bill Garlow. Nonpartisan or other minor parties and you being registered as that and having the candidates not being opened up on your ballot. A lot of people end up being surprised when
candidate to appear on the general ballot. And that's why it's closed. Closed means if you're a Republican, you can only vote for Republican and nonpartisan candidates. If you're a Democrat, you can only vote for Democratic and nonpartisan candidates. And then, of course, nonpartisan, all you're going to see are the nonpartisan candidates. And believe me, we get yelled at, we get chewed out, we get everything. Now what we do, and I've trained my staff to do, when somebody comes in and they register to vote as a nonpartisan, we explain to them that in the primary election, they're only going to be able to vote for nonpartisan offices, and then they'll be able to vote for everybody in the general. So hopefully that helps.
And then, do you ever think that'll change where you'll open up the candidates to other parties?
Nevada is a very political state. Strong Republicans, strong Democrats. I don't know that it'll ever happen.
Yeah, we were just talking about that at break about your office being a partisan office and the recorder's offices too as well. And
the assessor, recorder, clerk, treasurer, we're all partisan, and none of us are decision makers. So it really doesn't matter what party we are. We can't force our politics into the job because all we do is follow the statute. So I think they should be nonpartisan, but I don't know that that'll ever change either.
Well, we have a caller on the phone, Stephanie. She's going to ask about the voter booth at Fall Festival.
Yeah, I was just going to remind everybody, if they happen to miss the primary and they still need to register to vote, there is usually at least one booth on the property at the Fall Festival that's got voter registration papers. And it's so easy to go to the clerk's office and register to vote, and then you know it got there. You are positive it is there. They give you your stub. You're all signed up. It's in and out quick as a minute. She's got a great staff.
It is true. And younger voters are now registering, aren't they, all the time?
Yes, and I have a comment kind of to add what Stephanie said, is that many people do register at booths and in front of the store by different groups, and we don't always get those voter registrations, but we don't have control. And we do encourage voters to come to our office to register, or at least get your registration at the booth and then turn it into our office. That way you're sure we get it, because we get a lot of complaints that they aren't registered, and they'll tell us, well, I registered here, I registered there, but we can't help them because we didn't get it personally. So
And it just takes a second to walk into your office.
It does, and even the mail. We get most of them through the mail too.
Exactly.
But there's a lot of people who don't register, and then they complain when the election comes up. That's why I was going to ask you, like, I know you guys have probably fall out of your chairs, but like when I go to speak at Great Basin College, which, can I take a stack of voter registrations there for the people to sign up? Because, you know, they're all going to say they're going to vote. About 1 out of every 20 of them will actually sign up to vote. So.
Yeah.
So if I take, can I go to the county clerk's office and get a stack of them and take them with me and have the people sign up there? I'm not pushing Democrat, Independent, or Republican or anything. I just want the people to sign up to vote. That's the main thing.
Yes,
And,
you can absolutely do that. And we encourage that. And there is a law that states, and I think it states on the voter registration too, that you cannot push a certain political party. So, but
people do.
I know, but we do encourage you to take voter registrations and get people to sign up, just to have them turn it in to us themselves.
Well, they got to turn it in themselves.
They don't
can't
have
bring it
to,
back.
but we prefer it. Because what happens if you take those completed voter registrations, you become responsible for those. And if they get lost, it's your responsibility.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
and I don't know whether you want that or not.
Well, I've done it before in the past. That's why I just thought I'd bring that out, because there are so many people, and I sit and I talk to people, and they'll say, well, I voted for so-and-so. Too bad he didn't win. And I'm sitting there thinking, I know all the districts. You don't even live in that district. What the heck are you sitting there telling me you voted for him for? you didn't vote at all, did you?
Yeah.
You know, but to get the people interested in that, and I did talk to Mr. Oscarson about it, and maybe you'd want to too, and that when I set this up at Basin College, it's for the young people, let's say like 20 to 30 years old, you know, and explain to them why they need to get out and vote. Why should old people like me make their future?
Right.
I think we've had really a lot of younger voters now. They seem to be really interested in politics and voting more than ever.
At least a presidential election. We have a huge turnout in presidential.
And it was a big push for minorities and younger people. Let's talk a little bit about exit polls. Tell me about exit polls. You're smiling at me. Exit polls. I've been asked to conduct an exit poll when I've left, and the people, and I have to say, sometimes they randomly pick. I can see that some of them, they might know this person or not, and so it's not kind of like a blind polling. What do you think about them?
You know, exit polls are allowed by law, and there are certain restrictions. You aren't supposed to talk to the voter about anything else. You can't talk to them on the way in, but you can exit poll them on the way out. And I think it's a great thing for the people who are interested in doing it and they want to find out, you know, what the people think. The only problem I have run into in the past is sometimes there's a little confrontation. If somebody refuses to take it, or just a voter gets upset because somebody's even asking. But it's not required. People have the option of walking right by, but unfortunately we've had a few confrontations, and so exit polls always make me a little nervous.
Exactly. These exit polls, is there any rules about who does them, or how does that happen?
No, other than they need to notify me, and I set up where they can set their tables up. They can't be blocking the entrance or exit. And like I said, there are certain rules about not talking to the voters before they go in, and pretty much keeping it to asking them who they voted for on the way out. But other than that, there's really not a whole lot to it.
What should people do in the case of changing their address? Or we have a lot of snowbirds that come out here, and like you said, we were talking a little bit about that kind of voting with RVers and stuff. How far in advance do people need to let the clerk's office know about change of address? Or
it's the same as the voter registration deadlines. And we have so many people that show up to vote, and they never thought to change their address, and they think they should be voting in one precinct and they're actually in another. But the way the law states is they have to vote where they're currently registered. So if they haven't changed their address, they have to vote at their old address. So, but
And
we
it's just-
catch them at the polls and we have them fill out a form. I usually end up with a huge stack on election day.
And it's real simple to go in there and just check and see
Yeah.
what's up with it.
It is.
Yeah.
We encourage it.
And I have one thing to say about this. Can you explain to the people how far away from the voting door they gotta be out there campaigning? Is 100 feet, 150 feet, 10 miles, what?
It's 100 feet from the entrance to the polling place.
Right.
So what we do is right from the entrance, the doors, 100 feet, you know.
And a person walking up the way to go in to vote and they're handing out cards, that's a no-no.
That's a no-no.
And I can't wear my hat who I support when I go in to vote.
We'll tackle you.
There you go.
No, I'm just
They've
kidding.
they've done that before.
Sandra, before we go, I want to let everybody know how a little bit about your campaign. Do you have a website, contact information? People find out more about you. I know you're in the courthouse if they want to stop by your office.
You know, truthfully, with the loss of 2 people and the start of a primary election, I have not started campaigning whatsoever. I have no signs. I have no election material whatsoever. My priority is putting the election on and keeping the office running right now, training the new people. Once we get past the primary, then I will concentrate a little bit more on campaigning. But yeah, it's not a priority, unfortunately. That's the bad thing about being the clerk.
There you go. Well, you know where to find her.
That's it.
All right, we're going to need to wrap this up.
Okay.
This is the end of the night. And thank
Thank
you
you.
very much for coming.
I enjoyed it.
Yes, I did too, really. I always enjoy coming on
Well, I
here.
bet you
They
do.
always want to get rid of me after I'm here, but, you know, but anyway, I'd like to thank all you folks out there. Next Thursday night, Political Hot Seat will be back on. And so anyway, that's it for this Thursday. Have a great weekend.